Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the week 3 matches of the Overwatch League qualifiers for the spring stage. Before we get into that, let's talk about next week's set of matches. I'll be honest, week like the first day is nothing really interesting. I don't think it's going to happen. Other maybe of how much Vegas Eternal are going to be trolled by the enemy team, but that's really all. So 19th, not really anything. May 20th. Maybe the Fight's and Uprising. Maybe the Shock and the Outlaws. I think Shock and Outlaws will be a good match. And then May 21st, Titans vs Gladiators, maybe? I don't know. It's up in the air, I'll be honest, for me for those matches. But as you can also tell, there are also no Easter matches. That basically means that the East Conference has finished. And speaking of that, let's have a look at the finishes. The results from week 3. So I'm just hide these, just make it a bit easier on the eye. Alright, here are the results. So first start off with the Hangzhou Spark versus the Seoul Dynasty. It was a 3-1 victory for the Hangzhou Spark against the Dynasty. What is happening to the Seoul Dynasty? What is happening? I mean, like week 1, they were looking pretty good actually. to be fair, they did struggle against Seoul Inferno. I thought they were going to be pretty decent at least. Not really. They struggle. I mean, to be fair, the Hangzhou Spark are like the favorites of winning the East. But obviously, the Guangzhou Charge have emerged as one of the favorites. But yeah, it's I don't know what else to say other than Monk and MVP and the Hangzhou Spark looking 10 times better than the Seoul Dynasty, and the Seoul Dynasty looked 10 times worse than last year. The Dallas Fuel, they finally, I'm pretty sure, get their first win of the season after winning against the very continually strange Shanghai Dragons, who I still don't know why the hell they haven't picked up an actual tank, but whatever. The flat tank did not work against the Dallas Fuel as Edison gets MVP. It was an easy 3-0 clean sweep. So at least the Fuel's gotten a win. That's at least they're on the ball, so at least that's a good sign. But and I still think they still need some improvements this season, especially against like the Spark, the Charge, even the Seoul Inferno. They do need a lot of improvements on that department. Let's talk about this, shall we? Let's talk about Vegas Eternal for a bit. Obviously, they got clean 3-0 swept by the London Spitfire. To be fair, Kingsrow was really close. That doesn't change the fact, though, that the Vegas Eternal is possibly the worst ever Overwatch League organization we've ever had. Honestly, as you can tell, Avala, the general manager of Vegas Eternal, had to step in, obviously for the team because Marthel had internet outage. But I swear they're living with each other. So how did he have only an internet outage, right? Everyone else didn't have an internet outage. I might be wrong about that. Maybe they live in like different apartments, but I swear they play together. Like they play in like one room together. I know if that's true or not, but if it is true, that's very scummy and very weird to say that he has internet. He basically had a internet outage, but the rest of your team were fine. No idea. And what pissed me off even more, what basically pushed me to the edge, as you can see right here, Luke Mino fills in for the DPS slot. Really? Really? So, Avala was basically, I'm pretty sure, just playing Kiriko. Fair enough, Kiriko is actually pretty good. And Luke Mino, obviously, he was playing like Hanzo. He was basically playing the Flex character, while Dove was just playing Tracer. This actually made me pissed, generally. It shows that the 6th player is needed, and obviously you should have a 6th player. Obviously, there are teams that don't have a 6th player at all. Fair, okay. But what would happen if you say one of your players got sick, or even freaking internet outage, like for Marthel's, for example, for Vegas Eternal? What happened there? So I think this this kind of shows whether that the Vegas Eternal is maybe the law. Well, actually, no, they are the laughing stock of the Overwatch League as in teams. They are a complete, basically a utter. I can't remember what the word is right now, but just absolutely an embarrassment. There we go. That's what I'm trying to look for. An utter embarrassment. And they just I don't even have to watch the matches to know that the Vegas Eternal are basically the shittiest team in the world. They're even worse than the 2018 Shanghai Dragons. At least the Shanghai Dragons actually have some really competitive matches. Here, teams are legit playing Lifeweaver, the worst character in the game. The worst character in the game. And they're still game value. They are still winning against the Vegas Eternal, who look incredibly lost and confused. My rant will continue later. But all you need to know is that the Vegas Eternal are completely dog shit. That's all you need to know. A team which obviously has not won at all, but at least actually somehow made it really competitive against Florida Mayhem, which did win this match, was the Los Angeles Valiant. Now, obviously someone getting MVP, that's obviously fair enough, but I need to watch the VOD, because I'm really confused on how, to be fair, the Valiant, on paper, they're actually not too bad of a team. They actually have some really, some actual, like, decent, like, pieces of players. I apologize for my dog barking. No idea why, but he's just barking. Just like I said, they have some, like, actually good, like, some, like, good players. Like, Seeker, he was actually pretty good on the Boston Uprising. Crawl, he has improved massively. And they also have the veteran presence of Paintbrush, who I'm guessing is probably like the general manager coach. I don't know what the hell he is, but the team doesn't have a coach, I shall say. I think everyone else is also doing pretty well. But obviously, it's sad that like they haven't won it yet, but at least they have made some matches a little more competitive than Vegas Eternal. So at least it's a good thing. So, Valiant, I think they should be pretty happy, obviously, with the result. Obviously, they did lose, but at least it was against a really good Florida Mayhem team. So, at least it's a good sign. The Atlanta Riot, they continue their dominance in the West region as they won against the Houston Outlaws, Stalker again MVP. I'm not really surprised. I was expecting the Outlaws to at least get a map off the rain, so at least I was right on that. But it was just dominance kind of for the rest of the map. Hollywood, Yucatan, Esperanza, pretty dominant there. So I don't have anything else to say. Now I'm just gonna check what was the first. Okay, so this was the first one. The Dallas Fuel beats out the Seoul Dynasty. It was on LAN at the WDG Esports Studio of Seoul. Now this is when I'm a bit worried for the Seoul Dynasty, since obviously they lost to Spark. Okay, that's fair. The Spark, they are the favorites of winning it, and they basically have the Chengdu Hunters core. Fair enough. When they lose to the Dallas Fuel, who have been struggling immensely a lot, I'm a bit worried about that. To be fair, the Dallas Fuel, they do look like they're having a bit of a resurgence. Obviously, that's classic Rush teams, or I should say, when Rush is a head coach, obviously some of his teams are pretty slow to start, but then gradually they actually pick up the pace. I'm a bit worried for the Seoul Dynasty, especially since they only won one game, which was against the Seoul Inferno, and they lost against the Shanghai Dragons. You should be a bit worried if you are a Seoul Dynasty fan, because this is not the Seoul Dynasty I was expecting. I was expecting them to at least be in second place or even third place. Now, I'm pretty sure they are dead last with the Shanghai Dragons. Might be wrong, but we'll have a look at the standings. But I'm a bit worried for the Seoul Dynasty, especially after this performance. So, hopefully, with the DPS duo of Prophet and Prophet, it might be good. They also have Void, obviously, with veteran presence. And plus, on paper, their plays aren't that bad. Like, just like I said, they're Prophet and Prophet. They have Void and Belarusia, and also have Krillin and Lee Soo-min, who I'm pretty sure he's not too bad, but they have some veterans. They have championship-winning players, Prophet and Void, and yet they're still losing, especially to the Shanghai Dragons, which I'm really surprised about still. But hopefully next week, or even in some of the matches against some of the contenders teams, hopefully they do a lot better. But we have to wait and see. As for the other East team, we had the Seoul Inferno versus the Guangzhou Charge, and this was a very close game, a very exciting game, great game to watch. It was Mount getting MVP, and it was Seoul Inferno winning this one. So at least we know someone that can actually challenge the Guangzhou Charge. And to be fair, the East matches, they've been looking really, really competitive. And the Inferno, they've been looking really, really good now. A bit of a stumble out of the gates a little bit, but then gradually they picked it up the pace, and now they're looking like maybe a championship winning team in the East region. So hopefully that's the case, and we may get maybe the Charge, the Inferno, and even the Spark duking it out. That would be really cool to see. But Inferno, they woken up. They look really, really good now. So I hope they get. I hope they continue this upwards trajectory. Now move over to the West, and this was a bit of a shock to me, I'll be honest. The Washington Justice basically obliterating the San Francisco Shock. The Shock, to be fair, this year had been looking poor. I was just surprised at how much of a landslide it was. The Justice, they have a very good roster there, I'll say that. Althea, I'm pretty sure he's gotten MVP for the Justice for like all of their matches that they've won. So it's fair enough, it makes sense. It definitely shows that Althea is very committed to this Justice team, and that everyone wants to, work around him and get the best of him. So that's all I really have to say. Just Justice, they've been looking really, really good. The Shock, but get to them later. Alright, it's my part 2 Vegas Eternal rant. This week has just been an absolute nightmare for the Vegas Eternal. And they even lost to the NYXL, which, to be fair, they've actually have some glimpse of hope, and actually they've been looking pretty good. How do I say this? The NYXL, the DPS duo, Shockwave and Seiko. That makes sense, Both of them DPS players. The tank, I'm pretty sure was Kellen. That also makes sense. Veteran. The support duo, they have Creative, who also got MVP. But then they have Fitz. The DPS player, Fitz, who was renowned to be one of the best Sombra players in the world along with Lip. Played Ana. I remember, he played Ana on Junkertown. I'm pretty sure he played other support characters, but I mainly remember him playing Ana. And they still fucking lost. The NYXL was basically handing the win to Vegas Eternal, wrapped in the present, and the Vegas Eternal just forgot how to fucking open gifts. How in the world did you lose to the NYXL, who was basically trying to give you a win? It's so bad, though, that even I actually forgot to mention this when I was first ranting about the Vegas Eternal, that they even lost to Samito's team in the World Cup trials. They basically lost to contenders players in the World Cup trials and the Pro-Am. This team right here, Vegas Eternal, is an absolute fucking joke. It is a miserable. It is actually, it is so bad to see all the players, especially Dove, who I'm pretty sure is like the only great player in the team. Everyone else has been looking dead. They've been actually looking dead, and they just have not I want to listen to their comms. I want to listen on how they communicate. I don't know if it's silence for 100% of the time, and only one player is calling and shock calling, and everyone else is just muting their mics. No idea. But I want to see how the Vegas Eternal communicates with each other, generally, because I am actually getting depressed for these players. Not even for the team, because their organization are shit. Apparently, they're Avala's a controversy and stuff. Ben Best tweeted something out about it when Ben Best 3-0'd Vegas Eternal when they were using freaking Life Weaver still. I'm pretty sure they were the first team to use Life Weaver. I don't know what to say about the Vegas Eternal. I just have a lot of negative things to say about the Vegas Eternal. They've been looking horrible, horrendous. And even though I'm guessing that their economy is not doing well, because obviously after their rebrand and obviously they're moving from Paris to Las Vegas, I can understand that they're struggling a lot regarding money. But please, for the love of God, at least, please get, like, another player. Please, for the flexibility, please, Vegas Eternal. We have the money, please just get a player. It's actually sad. It's so depressing to see Vegas Eternal just bombing out like this. I'm actually getting depressed right now by talking about it. Hopefully, that'll be the last time I get to rant about the Vegas Eternal. If not, next week, expect another rant. But, anyways, continue on. The Atlanta Reign 3-0 in the LA Valiant. Not really surprised here. Dong Hack and MVP. Pretty sure this is his first MVP. But might be wrong. Maybe second. I have no idea. But Atlanta Reign, they've been looking really, really dominant. I don't know if you count this as an upset. Me personally, I don't really think so. Because the Inferno have been looking really, really good. But they 3-0'd the Hangzhou Spark. Came kind of nowhere. I guess 3-0 was a bit of a shock. I was expecting maybe a really close game, like 3-2, basically going up to map 5. I'm really, really surprised of how close this game was. Skeward getting MVP. I'm just shocked, really. Like, I thought the Spark was going to at least just, at least be competitive against the Inferno. Here, they just looked nothing. Like, they just weren't there. They just turned off the monitors and stuff. But, yeah, that's Soul Inferno winning against Hangzhou Spark. And they're going to charge. They continue their very shocked run in the Spring Stage Qualifiers to beat out the Shanghai Dragons. To be fair, they absolutely got destroyed in Kings Row. To be fair. But Choice said when he got MVP, and the charge, they battled out in Junkertown and Colosseo. So it's not too bad for the charge. So move over to the West. I'm going to go a little bit quickly here. The London Spitfire, they lost to the Florida Mayhem. No really surprises there. Cherwon gained MVP. No surprises there, I'll be honest. The Spitfires roster, they've been looking a bit weird. This is a bit of a... actually, not really, actually, now thinking about it. The Houston Outlaws, they 3-0'd the Washington Justice. I thought it was going to be a bit of a close one, I'll be honest. Like, at least it's going to be 3-0, but at least like the Justice will take a couple maps off of the Outlaws, but they didn't really happen. Lee Shang Tower was also swept. Havana was also swept. King's was a bit competitive, but not really, though. But Pelican, again, he gets the MVP, so, yeah. Outlaws, they've been looking really, really good. I expect them to definitely challenge the Atlanta Reign. And for the final one, it was a bit of a shocker. At the NYXL, almost, very close, 3-0'd the San Francisco Shock. Luckily, the Shock did do a reverse sweep against the NYXL, and he sang an MVP. But seriously? The NYXL, which, to be fair, they're not really great. They're not really a good team. They're obviously better than the Vegas Eternal and the LA Valiant. But really, that the Shock will almost got 3-0'd by the NYXL? That is appalling, especially for the Shock stand, since they have basically everyone from O2 Blast who basically dominated the Korean contender scene in Overwatch. And here they are in the main stage of the Overwatch League, almost getting obliterated by the NYXL, which were basically at one point the most hated org because of some very shady stuff that they were doing off season. But okay, at least they still won. But if you're a Shock fan, you should be a bit worried here, especially since they almost lost to the NYXL. Bit of a worry there. But that is week 3 all done. Many drama, especially from the Vegas Eternal. The Atlanta Reign, they continue their dominance. It's all Dynasty look struggling, like they've been going downhill. Their Valiant, they've been looking pretty good. The Justice have been looking pretty decent as well. Even though they did get 3-0 by the Yellows, but that's fine because the Yellows have been looking really, really good. And the Dallas Fuel, they've been looking up now. So some positives, but quite a few negatives, to say the least. Let's have a look at the standings right now. So it's literally the East. They have finished their Spring Stage Qualifiers, and I'm pretty sure, I think maybe next or soon, we're going to be having all these 6 Overwatch League teams versing against some of the contenders teams, obviously from the Opens. But the West, they're going to continue. They're going to continue on for another 2 weeks. The Atlanta Reign, they still are undefeated. We'll first start with the West and then move over to the East. So the West, the Atlanta Reign, still undefeated, 6-0. And then we get the Florida Mayhem, the Washington Justice, the Houston Outlaws moves up 1 spot, the Boston Uprising moves down 2, the Vancouver Titans rounds out the top 6, then we got the LA Gladiators, the San Francisco Shock, the NYXL, the London Spitfire moves up 1 spot, and the Toronto Fire moves down 2 spots. And then in 12th and 13th, we got the Vegas Eternal and the LA Valiant. Now, obviously, yes, the Valiant do have a worse map differential than the Eternal. But I'm pretty sure the Valiant will not be playing this week, and the Eternal will. So, what's going to happen there? We have to wait and see. As for the East, the Guangzhou Charge takes the first seed. Then we got the Seoul Inferno, Hangzhou Spark, the Dallas Fuel moves up 2 spots, Seoul Dynasty moves down 1 spot, and the Shanghai Dragon is down in dead last place, moves down 2 spots. We'll also have a look as well at the bracket for the spring stage of the East teams. Now, obviously, the West teams, they will also have this opportunity as well when they're finished. And actually, they will be starting very, very soon. 4 days for the first match against Pokerface and Dreamers. I guess I'll also have a look at the teams as well here. Some really good teams. I think Pokerface, they're going to do really well. O2 Blast may surprise some people. Dreams have been looking pretty good as well. Panthera, not really. Simpreza Gaming, not really. And Rhodes, they are the only Chinese representative in this Opens, other than the Overwatch League teams. So maybe I'm skeptical about them. But here are the first matches: Pokerface versus Dreamers, and Rhodes versus the Seoul Dynasty in bracket 1. Whoever wins against Pokerface and Dreamers will versus the Guangzhou Charge, and whoever wins against the Rhodes and the Dynasty will versus the Hangzhou Spark. For bracket 2, we have O2 Blast versus Panthera. Whoever wins will versus Seoul Inferno. And Simpreza Gaming versus the Shanghai Dragons. Whoever wins will versus the Dallas Fuel in the upper bracket semifinals. Obviously, the West teams, that is the top 10. The top 2 spots, they will automatically advance to the Midseason Madness. As of right now, no teams have actually made a spot yet. Obviously, that'll be in Korea, like I mentioned beforehand. So just a reminder that these are next week's matches. Obviously, some good matches, some pretty much sleeper matches. So that's really bad for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time in the next one. Goodbye.